Hello friends, this story is a fascinating and unique tale centered around a wealthy man's son, Popo, who is an innocent and shy young man. Due to his reserved nature, his parents decide to hire a girl who could help him become more confident. The story begins with Sana, a girl dealing with her own life's challenges. Sana's mother had taken a loan during her lifetime, and now its repayment burden had fallen on Sana. She worked at a bar during the day and drove a taxi at night to pay off the installments of the loan, but this time she failed to make the payment. Meanwhile, a government officer, Lenny, arrives to seize her car. Lenny is not only a government employee but also Sana's ex-boyfriend. Sana tries to persuade him, but the situation becomes complicated when Lenny notices a stranger leaving Sana's house. Sana attempts to change the topic by claiming the man is her cousin's son, but the man's inappropriate behavior worsens the situation. Angered, Lenny confiscates the car. Now, Sana had no means to continue driving her taxi, so she turned to her friend Mary and Mary's husband, Tom, for support. She shared her predicament with them and expressed her worry about how she would pay off the loan without the car. Mary tried to find an old car for Sana, but all the options were beyond their budget. During this time, they came across an advertisement in which a wealthy family was seeking a girlfriend for their son and promised a car in return for completing the job. Tom disliked the idea and discouraged Sana, but Mary reasoned that sometimes life demands tough decisions. Despite being hesitant, 32-year-old Sana decided to take a chance on this opportunity. After a long journey, she arrived to meet the family. Popo's parents explained that their son was extremely straightforward and shy. He didn't make friends, avoided social activities, and spent most of his time on his phone. The parents asked Sana if she could help make their son more confident. Sana assured them she could bring happiness to their son and help him overcome his shyness. Popo's mother added, "We hope you can make our son smart and strong enough to face the world." She also promised, "The day he snatches your cap, we will hand over the car to you." Sana understood that her task was to make Popo experience life's joys. Sana prepared herself and visited Popo's shop. She pretended to buy a dog to grab his attention. However, Popo ignored her. Sana tried to allure him with her charm, but Popo remained uninterested. This made Sana anxious. When Popo was about to leave, Sana offered to drop him home, but he refused. Undeterred, Sana forcibly put his bicycle in her van, leaving Popo no choice but to go with her. In the van, Sana jokingly told Popo that she was kidnapping him. Then she took his phone and drove toward her house instead of his. Popo became terrified upon noticing dangerous weapons in the van. These weapons actually belonged to Sana's friend, Tom. Seeing them, Popo grew more fearful. As soon as they reach Sana's house, Popo steps out of the car and sprays pepper spray on Sana's face, causing her eyes to burn. Sana, struggling with the pain, says, "Fool, I wasn't trying to kidnap you. I just wanted to go on a date with you." Hearing this, Popo feels regretful and uses the garden hose to pour water on her face. He then agrees to go on a date with her in the evening. In the next scene, Sana is seen waiting for Popo at a restaurant. Shortly after, Popo arrives, but the people in the restaurant laugh at him because he is wearing shorts with a suit. Sana, however, praises his outfit as she needs to win him over. Sana asks the waiter to bring biscuits, but Popo, unfamiliar with alcoholic drinks, orders cold drinks for himself. Sana interrupts and orders whiskey for him instead, insisting he drink it. Suddenly, Sana's ex-boyfriend appears and, in front of Popo, informs her that he is engaged and his fiancée loves him a lot. He warns Popo to stay away from Sana, claiming that she had once deceived him in a similar manner. After saying this, he leaves. Sana then takes Popo to an isolated place where entry is prohibited after 8 p.m. Despite knowing that Popo cannot swim, Sana insists that he try and starts undressing him. Popo refuses, so to encourage him, Sana removes her own clothes and jumps into the water. Seeing this, Popo begins to change his mind and eventually joins her in the water. While they are swimming, a group of mischievous boys and girls arrive and take away their clothes. Despite Sana's attempts to stop them, the group refuses to return the clothes. Determined, Sana steps out of the water naked and beats them up, retrieves the clothes, and returns to the water. This display of aggression scares Popo, and he refuses to accompany Sana any further. Angry, Sana decides to leave. Popo, however, climbs onto the bonnet of Sana's car. Sana orders him to get down, but when he refuses, she starts driving the car. Popo pleads with her to stop, but Sana keeps driving. Soon, the police start chasing them, which frightens Sana because she doesn't have a license, and Popo is naked on the bonnet. Somehow, Sana manages to evade the police and drives back to her house. At home, Sana tries to charm Popo, but he doesn't take advantage of the situation. Frustrated, Sana tells Popo to admire her assets, but instead, Popo foolishly kicks her. In retaliation, Sana places something heavy on Popo's lap, which he struggles to lift. Sana, realizing his discomfort, picks him up and places him on her lap. Meanwhile, Popo begins itching due to a rash spreading across his body, caused by an infection he gets whenever he is nervous. Observing this, Sana applies medicine to his body instead of indulging in romance. Popo then confesses, "Before you came into my life, I had no happiness. Kids at school teased me for sleeping with my mom and dad. That's why I never stepped out of the house or made any friends. And even today, I didn't take any advantage of you. Let's spend the entire day together tomorrow." The next day, the two visit various places and enjoy themselves thoroughly. Gradually, they become good friends. During this time, Popo gives Sana a finger trap as a gift, and as her finger gets stuck in it, Popo kisses Sana for the first time in his life. At night, they both go to a restaurant for their date. Sana asks Popo to play the piano. Initially, Popo refuses to play in front of the people, but when Sana forces him, he agrees. Popo was an excellent piano player, but he never liked performing in public. As Popo plays, everyone begins clapping, appreciating his skill. After some time, Popo's family friend, Natalia, arrives. She had attended college with him. Natalia invites Popo to a party at her house and then leaves. Watching Natalia with Popo makes Sana feel jealous. Sana tells Popo, "I will only be with you until this summer." Popo replies, "You can visit me at college later." Sana, however, says, "You should enjoy yourself with girls your own age." This angers Popo, and he decides to attend Natalia's party. Sana tries to stop him, but Popo ignores her and leaves for the party. Sana, determined to keep an eye on him, follows him to the party uninvited. At the party, everyone mocks Sana and calls her auntie. They even record videos of her. Ignoring them, Sana heads upstairs to find Popo. Popo refuses to open the door, so Sana, enraged, breaks it down. Inside, Popo is drunk and sitting with Natalia. Sana, trying to sober him up, puts her finger in his mouth to make him vomit. Meanwhile, the parents of the partygoers arrive and begin scolding Sana. Seeing this, Popo gets angry and tries to attack them. Unfortunately, he accidentally punches Sana instead. On their way home, Popo apologizes to Sana and expresses his desire to spend more time with her. He seeks her permission, but Sana, noticing he is still drunk, refuses. She assures him that she will reveal her beauty to him the next day. The next morning, Popo appears happy. He is excited to spend the day with Sana. He tells his parents that he doesn't want to leave for college anymore. His parents, worried about his future, call Sana. They request her to convince Popo to go to college and even offer her extra money for the task. Unbeknownst to them, Popo overhears this conversation through the car's Bluetooth. He feels deeply hurt upon realizing that the girl he loved was only with him for money. The next day, Popo secretly invites Sana to his house. His parents pretend not to know her, but Popo is already aware of everything. Popo then asks his friend to bring a weapon to destroy the car his parents had bought for Sana. Together, they take the car outside and wreck it completely. Afterward, Popo approaches Sana and tells her he wants to spend time with her. Sana agrees, but Popo is so nervous that he gives up before anything happens. Following this, Popo confronts Sana, telling her that he knows about the deal between her and his parents. He accuses her of pretending to love him for money and asks her to leave his life. Heartbroken, Sana returns to her home. Popo's parents send her back the broken car. Over the next few months, Sana works hard to repair the car and eventually pays off her debts. This marks the end of her troubles. However, Sana still harbors feelings for Popo and wishes to apologize to him. One day, Sana, dressed elegantly, visits Popo's college to find him. She apologizes to Popo, but he refuses to listen and drives away in his car. Sana, refusing to give up, sits on the bonnet of Popo's car and declines to get down. Seeing this, Popo starts driving the car quickly and eventually makes her fall into the water near a bridge. Near the water, they engage in a heartfelt conversation, apologizing to each other for their past mistakes. This marks the moment when they reconcile and become friends once again. In the final scene, we see Popo packing his belongings with the help of his parents as he prepares to leave for college. Outside, Sana is waiting for him. She plans to drop Popo at college before heading to California. This marks the joyful conclusion of their romantic story. Friends, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.